The Seismic 7, Chapter 11, Part 1. That can't be true, Todd whispers. It's true, Raquel says. I'm sorry you didn't know, but that's what's really going on here. My breaths are short, shallow, and painful. This has to be a dream. They have to be wrong. This can't be real. Wyatt looks as gray as a ghost. But we've worked so hard. You didn't think there was anything suspicious when they kidnapped you? Eddie asked him. Kidnapped us? Todd says. They invited us. Invited? Raquel asks. We were chosen from a contest, I whisper. I don't trust myself to speak any louder. I honestly might puke. Horrifically shocking news and a stomach full of ice cream don't mix. We won the chance to work with Dr. Greer for the summer, and when we got here, they told us what our real job was. Raquel and Eddie just stare. You mean the job to set off explosives inside a volcano? Eddie asks. Those are going to release the pressure in a controlled way, Todd tries to explain. Dr. Greer, she had research, Kinsey rambles, actually wringing her hands. It showed that Yellowstone will explode within the decade if we don't do anything about it. Seismic activity is on the rise everywhere. Like all those earthquakes around here, Wyatt jumps in. I nod rapidly. Yes, I agree, desperate for Eddie and Raquel to be wrong. Those earthquakes prove it. We're in a dangerous situation and have to act before... Earthquakes? Eddie asks. What earthquakes? What earthquakes? I ask, wondering how he could have been here this whole time and never noticed the ground shaking around us every few hours. You mean the ones we caused whenever we'd have to blow up bedrock to make a new section of the Alpha Tunnel? Raquel asks. Stunned, silence crashes over us. Sheer horror rolls through my body. You mean... Wyatt's voice is barely audible, and he gapes at Eddie and Raquel. Oh my goodness. We were so gullible, Kinsey gasps. Now everyone shushes her. I wince at the noise and Kinsey's point. Listen, Raquel says, shaking her head and getting back to business. Whatever you've been told, whatever you believe, it's wrong. You're lucky Styles and Fee forgot to lock all our cabins tonight so we can bust out. Lock our cabins? Our cabin is never locked, Todd says. It's not? Eddie spins toward him. How else would we be able to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? Todd replies. Do you hear him? Eddie turns to Raquel. Their cabin's been unlocked this whole time. This whole time! They could have just left. They've obviously been lied to, Raquel says. Oh, son estúpidos, Eddie says. Oh, han sido enganados. I wonder if they slipped into Spanish because they assumed we don't speak it. I definitely don't speak it well, so if that was their intention, it mostly works. Pretty sure Eddie just called us stupid, though. Eddie crosses his arms and goes silent, turning away from Raquel. I don't think he and Raquel are siblings, since they have different last names and don't look anything alike, but I get the immediate impression that he looks up to her like she might as well be his sister. I've started to think of Kinsey, Wyatt, and Todd as family, in a way, so I can understand. So, we're leaving now? I ventured to ask. I'm still not sure of any of this, but one thing is certain. I'd prefer to figure this out on the move and get away, in case Eddie and Raquel are right. My head spins. I can't see how they wouldn't be right. This completely explains why we never see them. This explains the quakes. This explains so much. Yes, Raquel looks relieved to see me on board. Let's go. What about our phones? Kinsey asked. We should get those. And risk getting caught? Raquel replies. No, we need to move, now. I grimace thinking about my camera, which is in Dr. Greer's possession, as it is every night. I just can't believe we've worked so hard, Wyatt repeats, staring numbly at Eddie. Then something hits me. What about Nolan? I ask, wondering if he has been tricked, same as us. Should we get him? We don't know where he is right now, Raquel says, so there's no way to rescue him, even if he'd want us to. The best thing to do is go for help and come back for him. Says you, Eddie grumbles. Yes, says me, Raquel says. There's no time to argue. We shouldn't even be talking about all of this right now. Are you guys with us or not? I look at each of my companions. To believe that all we've done all summer has actually been to trigger the Yellowstone supervolcano, not stop it. Yeah, let's go, I say. Absolutely, Kinsey says, climbing to her feet, her face one massive thundercloud of glaring eyes and healing scabs. Fury, confusion, horror. The whole mess broils inside of me. I stand up, grabbing my tool belt and headlamp. Priorities have to be getting out of here. We can come back if this is an error, right? This would be a heck of a lot easier if the fate of the planet as we know it wasn't on the line. Todd gets up next, grabbing the stuff he can bring. Wyatt is still on the floor, staring helplessly. Come on, Kinsey says, walking over to him and offering a hand. He looks up at her. In the dim light, I can see tears clinging to his eyelashes. I step forward, then Wyatt takes Kinsey's hand and stands up. I need to get my prosthetic on, he murmurs, shuffling along in the dark, using his other hand to steady himself on the wall. Right, Kinsey says. She turns. Just one more second, guys. Raquel and Eddie say nothing as they wait for Wyatt to get ready. I want to thank them for that, but don't want to do so in front of Wyatt. And then I immediately feel bad for the entire line of thought. But I know we have to move, like now, so their patience is really touching, especially since I'm guessing they didn't know about Wyatt's foot. Once Wyatt is set to go, Eddie opens the door to our cabin and peers out into the dark of the cave. Okay, he whispers. All clear. We file out, one after the other, a million questions running through my head, but no time to ask any of them. As silent as possible, we pick our way across the rocks through camp and toward the spiral staircase that will lead us up to the mouth of the cave. Feel like we should be grabbing supplies, food, water, anything, but also have no idea how to manage that without making too much noise and raising the alarm. And if Raquel and Eddie didn't waste time grabbing stuff, then we probably shouldn't try to do it now. I watch Kinsey the most as we talk. Her tiny frame is physically shaking from rage. I can't blame her, but I cross my fingers super hard and she keeps it bottled up until we're out of here. A rock skids from my left shoe out across the cavern floor and I freeze. The noise clatters in the stillness of the cave. Everyone looks at me and I wince, shrugging up my shoulders in apology. Nothing else happens, though. No one comes out to check on the noise, so we keep walking, and I stop watching my friends and start watching my feet. We reach the spiral staircase. Unfortunately, as soon as we all pile onto it and start the climb, we notice that it creaks under our weight, loudly. Okay, back off, Raquel instructs, shooing us all off the steps back down. We're going to have to do this one at a time.